Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump, I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. FOMO's God, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Diamond hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rights. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down.
Good afternoon, guys. Hope you had a great day today. It's the holiday, so the market should be boring, but you never know. Sometimes it gets a little wild. Britt, how you doing, man? Mike, Constantine, super. How you guys doing? So, Bitcoin has still been consolidating ever since falling down to one of our key levels. Our key level comes from the previous value high of this range that we were ranging within for about 55 days before using it as support and launching our way back up. Now we have this little demand zone we have circled. We can delete that now. But we have just recently grabbed the liquidity from beneath this area when we came down to retest and create our second tap down here. Got an SFP. And we got a hourly change of character reaction. So things are starting to flip bullish on the hourly time frame. But we still have a little bit more progress to make. So we can do one of two things from the current structure that we've got. We've got a double bottom posture. So if we draw a path here for you guys. So this is the double bottom, the neckline. The second tap came up, got the change of character reaction with this candle right here. And now we're pulling back, which is really common after getting a change of character. You usually will get a pullback between the point where you get the change of character and the strong low. And right now, this is our strong low for the hourly time frame. So if we hold this point of control and we get that break of structure continuation, we could end up hitting the double bottom measurable target, which is right now, let's grab that. If we click and drag to the neckline, there we go. So the measurable target is suggesting that if momentum were to be maintained, that the price target would be 111,700 basically here. But the volume has been pretty dreadful. I'm kind of expecting for us to actually come back down, not technically invalidating this move up, but unless we broke this low. But if we come back down to our previous area of interest here, below the valley area low, we could anticipate for us to have like an internal change of character like on the 5 minute and get that rotation back up to the valley area high, and then maybe get that target hit for here. We're just barely holding off the VWAP and this local point of control as support as we speak. But if we do lose that, that's what I'll be preparing for potential long here. Now, we do also have the scenario where if we use this valley area as resistance, we would simultaneously also get acceptance into this macro valley area here. This is the valley area high to that same structure that we're talking about before, right here. So acceptance within the valley area will look like a break structure, continuation posture like this. And then we'll likely see a fall down to this area right here where we have a decent amount of liquidity resting below this wick and this previous point of control. But if we were going to be that close to the 200-day EMA, I wouldn't doubt us also like tapping that before getting a strong aggressive bounce from that. So because of the stack confluences that occur around this area, if we do come back down to this area, I'm expecting a violent pump after tapping it to come up after this, breaking the downtrending momentum that we've been forming since the all-time high, as like this downtrending momentum and this macro uptrending daily momentum converge to an apex point like right about here. So if we do come down, guys, like the ETA for the big pump would be roughly around, let's see, 4 or 5 days from now. But it all depends on what kind of volume we get. We could come down straight down and come straight back up within a day, right? So that's kind of what I'm preparing for right now, is the either break a structure continuation down. I probably won't short it. I'll just be waiting for a long. Or we get that break structure continuation, but the timing for me is going to matter. I want to make sure that it will probably be into the next day and not during a bank holiday where volume tends to be usually kind of depressing. But when that daily candle resets, we could have a Tokyo run to the upside. Coma, hey, Mr. Canada. What's up, man? All right, well, that's Bitcoin. Not really much to it. So either A, wait for the internal change of character here to trade into the range to the value area high and hope for a continuation, or B, we hold this area and we get that break of structure continuation up, and we'll see what kind of stop loss guard that we have to that technical target up here. We have this wick level here where there could be resting liquidity above the zone. So kind of treat that as your measurable target for the double bottom posture. You can look left and see where the supply kind of ends here. And then and prepare for a potential rejection, or at least a pullback before a potential continuation up. See, got this. Got a lot of noise from this indicator. It's like here. There we go. Can we look at Solana? Yeah, let's do it. And Crow, yeah, Crow was on a huge run. I think it was the top performing asset of last week, but after looking and researching a little more, it was actually one of the more top performing assets of the year. So let's look at CRO first. I don't think we have a CRO chart. No, we don't. Let's just look it up. So let's take a peek at Cronos on the OKX chart. Zoom out. Yeah, so this was a huge key level here, this orange line at around 21 or 22 cents. Looks like we broke past it. We are coming out to the uptrending momentum as resistance. This has been awkwardly acting as resistance since around like November 2022, where the volume just keeps getting more and more dramatic in an ascending broadening wedge. So ascending broadening wedges like historically break to the downside, but it's all based on like if it ends up reclaiming some key levels like it just did within this structure. So if we hold above 20, we come down and tap these previous highs around, I gotta delete some of this noise, I'm sorry. 23,429. Let's zoom in on the 4 hour. Delete some of this. So we were anticipating a potential SFP. Never got the swing failure pattern. Kept going through its regression trend. You can pull a fixed range volume profile from here to here until that demand zone gets fully mitigated. Then you can include that into your pull. You can pull a rectangle here. Got this demand zone with a hourly order block within it. Send it back. We can delete this now that this supply concern has been mitigated already. Okay, we got downtrending momentum. We got a bearish order block up here above the valley area high. Okay. We have our hourly key level right here, right now. That will likely change. All right, cool. So Chrono right now on the hourly, we're coming in close to the local demand zone right here. See where we get, whenever you see these impulse moves up, base, that are impulse move, consider them a form of demand zone. And even better, if you have confluences like an hourly order block like this, it gives you evidence that there could be residual buy orders in that area. So if we come down to tap that, we could get a bounce and it could create an opposing change of character. Right now, our change of character level on the hourly is right here. But if we do get a pullback prior to coming down to this level, then we could get ourselves a better lower level unless we're forced to go down. If you're trying to get in around these areas and find structural evidence of support, then you might have to rotate to lower time frames if you don't get that pullback prior to testing back down here. So like the 15-minute time frame, for example. And even then, the 15-minute isn't that much better right now. It's like right here. So yeah, we're gonna have to give it some time, but we're getting really close to an area where you want to prepare for longs on Chrono right now. And you'd play this local range. If you do take the long, it'll just draw a path. So price action comes down, we get that change of character, right? We'd be trading it into this valley area here. So we'd have to watch the valley area low initially to potentially act as a form of resistance. And then the point of control and confluence with this liquidity high that could be used as exit liquidity to induce a pullback. A pullback after getting acceptance back inside of valley area wouldn't be too bad. It would mean that you're likely going to get a pullback to retest the valley area in hopes for a continuation back up. And then I'll be targeting this valley area while being mindful of these highs that could induce a reversal as well. So this could be the spark of that domino effect, but your ultimate target would be roughly around this valley area high, around 35 cents, which from here to there is a huge move of 33%. So it might take some time, the same way that this drop took some time. From here to where we currently are, it's about 4 days in this downtrend. with an internal relief rally right here. But yeah. So yeah, I'll be looking for longs inside this area here in hopes that you might get that continuation further up, but this thing has been on a huge tear, like running its way up here. So it would be healthier if it didn't. It would be healthier if we consolidated between, you know, this extreme high here and the extreme lows of the range. But that is CRO. I hope that helps you out, man. Can we look at Solana for Constantine? Let's take a peek. Missed that juicy SFP 13 hours ago. Watched it on FOS. Kind of unsure. I gotcha. Yeah, when in doubt, stay out. 100K tap if we lose 107.2K. I think that, yeah, there's a barrier at 105K that's really strong too. If we lost 105, then I would start, yeah, I would agree with you for sure. Okay, so let's go to Solana. So Solana says I looked at it today, but I don't remember looking at it today. Okay, so let's zoom out. So we were talking about, oh yeah, this double top. This was the measurable target here. We ended up hitting the measurable target on Saturday, looks like. Yep, and then we just previously hit this valley area as resistance again. We could clean up this chart a little bit. We've got some overlapping data. So from here to where we currently are, we can delete this. Let's mark our active value area low. Let's mark our value area as point of control. Look at that volume shelf. That's crazy. I'll just talk about this here. Pretty strong wall right there. So if we end up breaking past this, it'll act like a decent capital guard for your stop loss after a break of structure above it. So you move your stop loss below that area. If you end up being in a long position and we break past this area, it's going to be super strong capital guard. Until then, it's going to act like really strong resistance. Okay, delete this. Okay, we mitigate this full demand zone here that we had marked right here during this moment. Let's go to the 15-minute. We can mark a few levels. We got a level here because Solana loves to give traders SFP opportunities all the time. So just watch that wick. If you're new to SFPs, basically what you want to see is a candle come down, grab the liquidity from below this wick, and then close above the previous wick, considering an SFP. Now, if you had a range in this area and you see some full body candles, if it came up and swept this low and closed, and the candle closed back in the same area where you had full body candles, it increases your win rate dramatically on an SFP. All right, let's see. Downtrending momentum here. Looks like we're breaking it right now. We have this VWAP in our face. No proper pullbacks until now. So up here, we'll get a 15-minute change of character reaction on Solana, which could drive the price up further to the local neckline for this more macro double bottom. And then from there, you could hope for a break past this point of control and a rotation back up to this value area high. But this point of control is going to be really tough. So if you're already in an existing long position on Solana, let's say you took like this local sweep here and you got in, you'd already be at your first TP, honestly. But if we get past this level here, we'd have the VWAP on your side during that moment. And then you'd be targeting this neckline in hopes for the continuation past this point of control right here. I wouldn't trade the SF, me personally at least, I would not trade this if you got an SFP opportunity here, just because it's internal. I'd rather recommend anyone, if you're doing SFP trades, you do it off the extreme highs and the extreme lows for that better probability of continuation that's beyond your measurable target. All right. Okay. So Luke, what's up, man? Looked like it came out of an uptrend, thought it was bullish, comes from a drop, then forms bearish. Yeah. Love Karma doing those little step ups while Bitcoin is making up its mind. Yeah. Yeah. Karma had another leg up today, I believe. Go to Dex Screener, check it out. Once my computer wants to move here. There we go. He's at 9.1 cents now. So I had like a 6% climb over the weekend. Yeah, Karma got relative strength because it's so low market cap right now. So one buyer can make a difference. So here, yeah, we had that break. We broke the downtrending momentum from the all-time high resistance. And we're coming up to our next little supply concern. But up here is where it starts getting around 12 cents. It's where there's a large amount of people's average from this range-bound price action. When we came up last time, a lot of people exited. We got rid of some whales. But in hopes that we, break past this, build this we've got this massive double bottom structure, right? And that could, if we maintain the momentum after this neckline broke, it could bring us to our all-time high at 26 cents again, which from where we currently are, it's about a 180%, 190% climb. But from the last time we were here, we had more supply than we do now, right? Supply is constantly decreasing from its tokenomics, making it easier and easier for it to pump. But yeah, we went through CRO, Solana, Karma, Bitcoin. I have one big problem with Karma. I don't have enough. Yeah, I hear you. My goal is to get like 5% of the supply. Talking about Livermore megaphone pattern. Oh yeah, yeah. Where we got, oh yeah, it looks like we went through everyone's requests. We got requests for XRP now. Let's take a peek at XRP and see how it's doing. Oh, I know we have an XRP chart. There we go. Okay. You got some relative weakness on XRP. Sorry, my chart's still loading. Okay. Looking a little similar to CRO. Except XRP has a lot more local support. With this valley area high here that we came in, or starting to come in towards this valley area, it's about 220 days as we are ranging above the previous high and allowing old traders to get out and new traders to get in, stabilizing the price to allow more growth. We need an RPL chart for XRP because I'll be super curious to see how much of the supply is into profit. I believe Glassnode would have something like that. I don't have an account with Glassnode anymore, but I should, let's get to Glassnode. See if there's anything free on seeing the supply and the profits and loss on XRP. Okay. There we go. They did a lot of changes on here. So 86%, 86.1% of the XRP supply is in a profit right now, which is pretty high, but XRP has been around the, not XRP, Bitcoin has been around the 90 percentile for since February of last year, as like retail is slowly exiting and institutions are buying up the supply that they're selling. It's creating a healthy reset. So we need XRP to keep doing this consolidation as well. So right now, we did have that legacy SFP on the 4-hour time frame for XRP with the measurable target of just reaching around here. It almost hit that level and then came right back down. So we could get ourselves another sweep of this low. We have to readjust our levels. Oh, we can just delete this and just snag this one here. We got these lows here that we could also sweep. We're coming pretty close to that previous value high at 259. And our last change of character level break recently. Let's see where we have our next one. Pole Valley area. Here to here. It's a young one. Pretty much hit that point of control and Valley area high simultaneously with this wick and had that harsh rejection. This chart doesn't show very much liquidity, does it? No, it's Bitstamps chart. Yeah, sometimes you have gaps in the candles when you have a low liquidity chart. So if you ever see that, it might be a good opportunity to look at another chart. Unless you're fine with the gaps, but if you're doing scalping, then it could be a problem. Yeah, so we can prepare for a potential sweep of this low down here. If we use this level here as resistance, we're kind of coming up right now to this previous low to potentially tap it as resistance and drive us right back down. If we do come back down here, we prepare for that sweep. If we continue to go down lower, we have a level at 266 as well. We deviate away from this little range that we've built here before we leg down further. But we're seeing some evidence of accumulation. We got this inverse head and shoulders pattern here right before we broke this downtrending momentum and ran our way back up. We have this downtrending momentum here, but we don't have very much structural evidence other than this rounded bottom of buyers like kind of stepping in. So if we want to induce a change of character here, then use a strong low as a stop loss guard, and then we can start targeting these previous highs again at like 283 for a local scalp. Nothing too wild or convincing just yet. Let's go back to Bitcoin. I did notice a shift and change in the USD dominance as well. Let me pull up the pre-TA chart really quick. We're getting close to getting that change of character reaction on USD dominance. And normally when that occurs, we tend to get like a bearish drop on the Bitcoin chart and all of crypto pretty much, honestly. Let's see. Where is my... I'll pull it up on here. There we go. All right, let's go to the daily. Make sure your logarithmic's turned on. I got my BPPR here. Turn that off. All right. So we have this valley area here. Let's fix this. Okay. Momentum. My computer's moving super slow today. Sorry, guys. There we go. Momentum, and then we have this downtrending momentum here. A lot could be adjusted, but we have a change character level here. This is the daily time frame on the USD dominance. So as this chart goes down, typically crypto goes up, right? This is where the flow of funds are coming from USDT and then into altcoins or into Bitcoin. We're coming up and we're starting to test this key level here at around like 4.58% in confluence with this downtrending momentum, which this is like the pace of the sellers and buyers, right? So if we don't get this break, and then we'll likely just continue to go back down to the valley area low, which would normally create a bullish move on the Bitcoin chart. So we're kind of at this like make it or break it moment for the USD dominance chart. So we'll see what occurs. But if we get that daily candle close above this level, then it could reflect bullishly to bring us back up to like 5%. But if we don't, we do have like this internal kind of bear flag leading up to this neckline. So it could bring us back down, and we'll start targeting like the 3.82% level after that. And then that would be, yeah, you're right. That would be kind of top fives there, space. At least a short-term top, not the top, but at least a short-term top. In my opinion, the top comes from the on-chain data. That's where you'll get more evidence of top vibes from there. And on-chain, it's showing that we've had a huge reset from all the consolidation that Bitcoin's been having. What about the Feds want to lower rates in September? Well, yeah, if the rates get lowered, long term, that'd be a disaster. Short term, that would be bullish for crypto. It'll give the economy more spending power, right? Which normally means people will be more risk on. But what that would do to your GDP long term won't be great. There's a lot of variables, but in my opinion, it might be a little too soon for them to reduce the rates. But sometimes they don't really have a choice. What they really got to do is fix the taxation system. After all this inflation, because the taxation system is completely flawed. Problem of the day: the cuts will likely go down. Scary one. Watch the 30-year. 30-year. You're talking about the Treasury. Yeah. 10 over 30. Okay. Kyle, I already did 17 push-ups. How much more in a game lifetime? Be gentle, bro. That's funny, man. Okay. POLSTA, please. Polkastarter. What is Polkastarter? Polkastarter. It's a launch pad on Polkadot's network. Let's see, POLS, you said? Polkastarter on, we'll check out on Philonex. Oh, maybe something else? This chart looks terrible. HTX? That's better. Okay, a lot better. So this thing's been on a forever downtrend since January 21st. We're looking at the daily chart right now. We have this downtrending momentum. Should look into inflationary data on this. Not everything has to hit their all-time high, especially if they have high inflation. I'd be super cautious trading this thing, especially lately on shorts. Like, it's nuts because like the short game would obviously be the better play on this thing. But when you have these wicks constantly knocking people out, you have to give it a lot of breathing room. So there's not very much support to look for. This is our all-time low down here, around 1426. I'd recommend doing some TA on its market cap analysis and finding out what the inflationary harm is ever since its all-time high in 2021. And just basically divide, the previous market cap from its all-time high to the current supply and see if there's any inflationary damage. If we break, this level here, full body candle close above the 200-day EMA, we could see it ride back up to this downtrend momentum around 44 cents. That's like a 2x from here. It's a very, very low market cap asset. So it shouldn't take very much funds to be able to bring it there, but you got to be super cautious when this thing's been in a forever downtrend. Not one I would recommend holding long term based on its current posture and behavior. Maybe short-term holds. Watch the order books and see if there's sell orders resting along this momentum line. If there's a massive sell wall, then it's telling you that there's evidence that this trend line is being honored as a form of resistance. If you do not see a sell wall around here, then we might actually break through it that time around. And then you just have to look left at previous key levels of supply that could induce the price to come back down. So big key level at 77 cents, massive key level at 124. Like this box zone here. But overall, I don't have very much faith in this based on its price action for it to go beyond this downtrend momentum in confluence with the supply concern here. So just be super cautious, man. Let's get back to the 15-minute. Oh, my bad. There we go. What we have? ICP is also in a perma downtrend. ICP is not a scam. No. What they did do, though, wrong at the beginning with ICP is almost every crypto does this wrong. With their ICO, they offered too much compared to what they were able to offer in liquidity. So say for example, you launch a token and you sell it for 10 cents and the ICO event, right? Let's say 0.10, you're selling at the ICO, but then you're offering to list it for 20 cents, giving people the feeling that they're going to get a free 2x, right? They may do that, but they don't. 9 times out of 10, crypto creators will not provide the liquidity to keep this price tag sustainable. So when people sell, you'll usually crash below the ICO listing offering, right? So ICP did that in combination to some problems that they had with FTX. So there was a massive like overvaluation of its listing. And then VC started pulling their rugs, and ICP just, crashed. It's still a great asset, but don't expect for it to reach its all-time highs again, basically. Okay, can we look at Link? Yes, we can. On the short time frames. Sure. Link. So I have a limit sell order right here for 50% of my bags. Of my new bags, not my macro. Like, I've created a whole new portfolio. And I'm aiming to just basically scalp it via spot to accumulate more for free. So if you bought low and then you sold, let's say you bought like $200 worth here and you sold $100 worth of it here, and then you rebought, you can keep that difference and you can accumulate more and more of the asset for free, as if like you're getting it for $0 average. Right now we're inside of this demand zone here for Link. We mitigated more than 75% of this demand zone. We are range bound below the value area, which is not great. Normally it's a sign that you're going to be leaving that value area and going to a new one. And we already got that break a structure warning of potential continuation. So if we mitigate this whole area, like our next key area of interest is around like 2139. We do have a previous value area low marked at 2129. But I'll be marking these lows here as a key area if we were to lose this demand zone. We have this tight internal regression trend right here that we are breaking. This is it here. So we have this downtrending momentum that already broke. But this is our change of character level right here. So we'd flip bullish on the 15-minute if we broke this high at 2286. And then from there, you basically target, think of this as like a liquidity line, right? So if we break this level, we could come all the way back up. And we do have a 15-minute order block here. So there could be residual sell orders in that area. But right above this level is where I'd be cautious as well. So I'll just mark this as local resistance. Because it, just from the structure, it does look like it starts to go cold around here from the liquidity, but we can take a look at the heat maps to verify that. So let's go to CoinGlass. And create liquidation heat map here. Can pull, what's this range? 3 days and 10 hours. And where's our last 24 hours start? Around this drop then, okay. Let's wait for it to load. Okay. Click on symbol when you go to coinglass.com's heat map, and then you go over here on the right. Type in the ticker. Okay, so you can see how we have liquidity on the right here, just stacking from this downtrending momentum. It does start to go a little bit cold after our area that we were talking about, but not as much as I thought. We do start to go cold inside this internal area. Yeah, around like 2360, 23.681. And then we have a decent amount of liquidity right above it at 2413, where you could prepare for an exit plan around that area. for a quick scalp on Link. Let's go back to that for a second. What's that price tag? That was 24.13. So from right above this wick here, 24.13. So high liquidity zone. So if you're a market maker and you jumped in around this area, the low areas, around 24.13 will be a good area to prepare for an exit plan for the least amount of slippage if you had a decent sized position. Like the liquidity there, you have about $2.46 million, which to Bitcoin, that's not very much. Like you'd want to have like around 40 million in one spot for it to expect some kind of like market maker support. Right here, yeah, we're at 2.46 million. So if you're jumping in a position around here, you could target these local areas with the confluence of, like, say, for example, like an opposing change of character at this order block, or when the liquidity starts going cold around here, you get opposing change of character. Just look for the structural evidence of resistance and then use that as a TP warning. But overall, you could target around this area here. But that is Chainlink. I hope that helps you out, man. Just watch that in confluence to Bitcoin hitting its key levels, right? So as Bitcoin gets closer and closer to, let's say, for example, like this 15-minute order block, in confluence with this downtrending momentum, you could prepare for a rejection around there. And based on Chainlink's positioning, you could use that in confluence to tell you that you might need to exit early, right? Hey Kyle, I'm on TradingView. How do you highlight a bunch of drawings you did and circle multiple ones and then delete them all at once? You click on Control and you click and drag and you get this box, and whatever's within the box, so long as your anchors are within that box, you'll be able to delete everything at once. All right? So you'll see the anchors are these little blue dots. You just got to make sure the anchors being included within that, and then you can delete them all at once like that. I just have seen people fall into the shitcoin trap for years. Yeah, man, it's exhausting when you see, like, when you get someone message you after, like, you know, like, let's say you start trading, you get decent at it, your friends hear about it, and then they want to get in, and they confront you, and they always confront you about these shit coins, these meme coins that are just absolutely worthless, that are here for maybe 30 days and then they're gone. It sucks trying to get them away from that stuff and make them realize that why put your net worth on a scratch ticket when you can put it into something like Bitcoin that's a lot more safer, right? Like, it's part of the reason why I invested so heavily into Chainlink this cycle. It's just like there's just too many guarantees, right? So when we bought like around like $7, it felt safe as buying Bitcoin because of all the stuff that we knew that was happening, right? The regulatory updates, the partnerships that Chainlink were going to bring in through banks, and their ability to allow us to have Bitcoin be in our bank account. Like, there's no way Chainlink wasn't getting a crap ton of attention this cycle. It's just tough trying to get people away from, you know, the Doge coins or all that crap, all the dogs and frogs. If it makes higher highs and higher lows from a cycle to cycle, it's fine. Yeah. On Mac, to do that highlight tool, it's like the button is Command. Yeah, exactly. I'm not a Mac supporter, so you press your control buttons. Okay. All right, guys, I got another 10 minutes to hang out. Is there any other assets you guys want to take a peek at? Or anything that you want to go through? A 5-minute symmetrical triangle on Bitcoin. Can you take a look, please? Oh, are you talking about this dude? This little guy here? Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So these coming in from a pump do provide more statistical, like, you know, evidence of it going to the upside. But with the low volume and us being at a value area high, you'd really want to see the positioning of this to be on top of the value area high. And the reasoning being is because when you have those breaks to the upside, you have those usually like more trade participants, because they'll know that we're leaving a value area during that moment and going to a previous value area. So if the positioning of this was like right just a little bit higher, then you might have more trade participants, because you also have the confluence of breaking momentum. And there's trendline traders, like a lot of retail traders trade off just like the trendline break. And for me personally, I use trendlines for assistance and exit plans. But yeah, I can see what you're saying, man. Let's go to 5 minutes so you can see what you're seeing. But yeah, we got the uptrending support here, right? And the downtrending resistance here. And there's our apex point. And we've basically broke that momentum. But where we're positioned, I'm not interested in taking the trade. It's going to be a short-lived pump, in my opinion. And if we came down here and had a opposing change of character in our demand zone, then I'll be looking for longs for sure. And targeting around here. Thanks, man, for the wisdom. No problem, bro. Appreciate it. I'm long the 33C OCTXP. Check out silver. We could take a peek at silver. We don't normally look at anything other than crypto. But I know silver's been undervalued for years. Unless you're talking about a cryptocurrency, SLV. This thing. Awkward structure. Low volume leg ups. We're in a pennant right now. It's getting squeezed. How long have we been consolidating this for? About 8 days. That's interesting. And his last area of consolidation is about here. Oh, this momentum-based target's going to be ridiculous. 9, yeah. 3x from here. Well, yeah, 169%, sorry. Yeah, it's just, it keeps hitting its head off its point of control. It has resistance. It's coming down slowly towards its value area low. This is not something I personally would trade. Maybe something you could invest in, but I don't know enough about it to suggest anything about investing in it. But its momentum-based target suggests that it's going to go up quite a bit. It's just a matter of whether or not that's going to actually occur. We are consolidating after having an insane run up. What did it just do? It just, yeah, 6x'd. That's insane. Congrats if you're a holder of this. That's wild. Nothing I would personally trade. That's cool. We got a request to look at CAS. Now, CAS is a heck of a lot more predictable. can update this pole from here to here. That previous point of control from this area, it's became its local one. Delete that too. We got our value area high right here. We can delete this. This was to help us with potential SFPs. See if we got one. Did you guys end up taking SFPs on CAS? We swept this low here. Last time was around this area. We didn't have one on the hourly. Probably required a higher time frame. Yeah, nothing really great, eh? I don't think I've ever taken an SFP on CAS anyways. We have this low. Only undo that delete because we can reuse that here. There we go. Get this internal momentum. Okay, well, yeah, so Kaspa is at a valley area low. We're getting a bit of a squeeze event to that valley area, getting suppressed from seller pressure coming into these lows. We could sweep up this liquidity in preparation for a move up. If we do end up coming down lower after grabbing this liquidity, we do have this previous valley area that will act like a decent demand zone to pump the price from that valley area high as well at 0.077831. So yeah, basically if we lost these lows, then we can come here for a reversal as well as we deviate away from this local valley area from right here. If we end up using this valley area as resistance and get that break of structure continuation, we'll have to watch this as potential support. But during an event like that, we could basically see a descending double top act as a form of resistance and drive the price down further. But I'm hopeful that we get the opposing change of character around these lows. Right now we're on the 4-hour time frame. And the hourly isn't really giving us much other than way up here. So hopefully we get a pullback and then we'll get that change of character reaction and we can start riding this up to the value area high while being mindful of these local highs here to act as a form of resistance as liquidity might rest above it, and the 50-day EMA, the 200-day EMA as well, and then we have our value area high. So quite a bit of barriers to the value area high. We got a little bit of double distribution, so price action will consolidate a lot in this zone, and very little around here. And we have another big area of interest right here at the value area high. So price action could move quickly within these valleys, slow down a little bit here, but ultimately target that value area high. So we really badly want to get above this volume shelf, which would mean we'd have to get above that 50-day EMA. So we can end up using it as support and give us a good capital guard to the long position that we could jump in on. Just sitting on our hands, basically, just like with Bitcoin. All these assets are they look like they're positioned for a good spot to prepare for longs. It's just a matter of waiting for that structural evidence. All we need is that opposing change of character, really. So we might have super low volume because of the holiday leading us into that. I wonder what I'm curious what Tokyo is going to be like this time around, because sometimes we'll get those awkward, crazy runs in the middle of the night. Vacation, what's up, man? Cubic Hope you loaded your Cubic bag again. I sold my seed investment on Cubic, so it's just pure profits. But I might do a rebuy on a low. Cubic had a pullback finally, right? Let's see. Yeah, there is. Yeah. Nice. We had this awkward ascending broadening wedge. Kept grabbing liquidity from above and stacking more and more below. And we're finally starting to take the liquidity from below us. When a broadening wedge like this, their technical target is where the liquidity ends, which is right here. So we could come down and get blocked by the 200-day EMA. Just as we did as resistance before, it could finally act as support for us. So if we do get that fall all the way down here, then this could be a good spot for me. I'll probably rebuy around this area, honestly, if we came down that low. And I won't just ape in, of course. I want to see that structural evidence of support. I'm going to update this now. And we're anticipating support around this area. We did for a little bit, but then we fully mitigated the area. Now we're starting to see it that act as supply. We do got a wick low right here as we mitigated this wick right here. We got that SFP, had a decent run up. Your technical target would have been this previous high. So that one played out well. So the same area, because we had that healthy pullback, we can prepare for this to also give us an SFP for the exact same level. So just mark your lows, prepare for that sweep. And that could give you a really good entry, and you'd be targeting this supply right here in hopes that it induces a change of character, because that's what SFPs basically are, right? They're attacks at your strong lows, your strong highs that could induce that change of character for continuation. So SFPs can sometimes give you that great front run to those bigger moves. So if we do get the SFP opportunity down here, target here initially, but prepare for the exit plan around this area, but hope for the break. So if you get the break instead of the signs of resistance through like a double top structure, right, or that change of character, then you could stay in and start targeting your next area of concern, which is up here. So far, so good. But if we lose these lows, yeah, we talked about it already. We can grab liquidity from these lows here, but ultimately target the 200-day EMA. What's your thought on the CRO theme? What do you mean, like theme? Do you mean like the branding, or about what's going on with CRO? But see, I was a huge early adopter of CRO. Like I like the whole concept and the utility of the asset, but I didn't buy it this cycle. Yeah, I sold it last cycle, and I don't feel bad about selling it either. Like it served its purpose and helped me get to where I am now. But if I did held it to where we're at now, oh boy, we'd be doing pretty good. What's your green and red EMA? Green EMA is 200-day. Red EMA is 50-day. I sync it to the daily chart, and I don't have it auto change based on which time frame I'm looking at. By default, your EMAs will switch and change based on your time frame source, and your source is usually set to chart, but I have mine synced to the day. It's the EMA that I watch the most in my trading. It's the daily 50 and the daily 200. Not that the smaller EMAs don't serve a really great purpose, because they do. It's just not one that I use for my trading strategy. Okay. What do you think about Ethereum? Ethereum just had a massive, massive token unlock from its staking, right? And the timing couldn't have been more bizarre. Like being at an all-time high. Sorry, I got disconnected from my trading view. I got yell at Otto and tell him not to do it while I'm doing lives. There we go. All right, let's pull up a Ethereum chart. Zoom out on the daily. Yeah, Ethereum has definitely got some price suppression going on too, guys. We were talking about it for a while, that there was this giant 10,000 Ethereum sell wall at 4,990. So it's basically an undercut to the psychological level, right? So it's definitely market makers trying to use the psychological levels as like their exit plan, but undercutting it. Right now, yeah, lots of funds being unlocked, but they're starting to be restaked slowly, which helps increase the floor value of Ethereum during the moment that they're locked. Let's see the 4 hour. We can undo that. Flip that around. We don't need that anymore. Don't need this anymore either. We got some lows down here that we could sweep. And 4.259. Now this asset, I believe, will be reaching around 7,000 this cycle. If we break past, yeah, if we get past this area here, we don't have that constant suppression. The suppression seems to be likely caused either from market makers or institutional investors, because it's a big, I think it's a single actor putting all those funds in there, because it was just placed all at once during that moment and not gradually built. When you see a wall gradually build, it's telling you that there's likely a market maker, but retail stacks on top of it, right? But when you have a big order, let's say like 10,000 Ethereum all at once, then it's pretty much guaranteed that it's just a single actor, like a market maker, try and suppress the price and induce a range so they can keep accumulating it at lower prices. But prepare for that potential sweep down from these lows. It had short-term relative strength, but looks like it's starting to have some relative weakness now. Yeah, it's on its way down now. I mean, we could come up and like test these previous lows as resistance, but I'll be sitting on my hands waiting for a long opportunity down at like 4,258 area, right around here. Kyle, what do you think if a double top forms at 109,100 above the sell? Do you think it's possible? Yeah, definitely. Anything's possible, man. Let's see. You said 4,000, sorry, 109.8, eh? 109.8. So you think that we could come up here, hit our head, and then build a neckline here to bring us down here? Yeah, that's definitely possible, man. For sure. It'll induce more liquidity from this low. if we broke this high, because people will likely use this as a stop loss guard or high amounts of leverage, and that could be hunted and induce a reversal to come down to our key level we're preparing for longs. You could use like the 3-minute time frame to dissect a potential earlier exit if you're in a long, or an earlier entry if you're looking for a short. But I'm personally not trading today, guys, because of the holiday. I built on my own. Hey, you built a bot with your own GTP for daily reporting and all that relevant. Nice. I built one too. It's addicting. Yeah. Yeah, ChatGPT is pretty sweet when you're trying to find all the relevant news. Like I built one to help me just keep on top of all the news that are the most relevant. That's more likely price impacting news, right? Like regulations, for example. Okay. Well, guys, I got to head out. Reach out to me in the Discord if you need help with anything. I appreciate everyone who's been watching and subscribing and sharing. We've been growing. We're almost at 7,000 subscribers. But yeah. All right, cool. And tomorrow we have our live's going to be at 8:30 a.m. until 9:30. And then at 9:30 we have our trade hunting calls where we're on a call together and we're looking for trades out in the crypto world. And by then we should have some volume coming back. It's just, yeah, for the bank holiday, and I think there's a holiday here in Canada as well. I think it's Labor Day today. Yeah. Sometimes the markets are pretty quiet during these times because there's less liquidity, less activity. But yeah, guys. All right. Have a great day. And like I said, just because it's a holiday doesn't mean you can't reach out and ask for help.